Welcome back to Bonkers for Borough, and what a mental 24 hours it has been. There has been so much transfer activity at the Riverside Stadium, and things are really starting to heat up in the January transfer window. We've had an incoming, we've got a potential outgoing, and we've got two big updates on Middlesbrough players who could potentially be leaving the Riverside Stadium in the days and weeks ahead. We're going to get stuck right into that right now. Here we go. So first up for Middlesbrough, it's a really exciting news that Middlesbrough have completed the deal to sign Leo Castledine from Chelsea. Now, this was a deal that was first revealed by Fabrizio Romano on her social media. He'd reported that Middlesbrough had agreed a deal with Chelsea to complete the permanent signing of the player. Now, it's been reported a couple of variations in the transfer fee, but what we're hearing is it's been a £1 million transfer fee, which is an absolute bargain for Leo Castledine, but it includes a hefty sell-on clause in Chelsea's favour. So effectively, that means that if Middlesbrough were to sell him on for any sort of profit, Chelsea would be entitled to a huge slice of the pie. A similar sort of deal, I guess you could say, to what we've seen with Jed Spence or Morgan Rogers, players who we've bought for relatively cheap amounts of money and sold them on for a hefty profit, because Leo Castledine is a player who is highly regarded and is really expected to go on to do massive things. So the 20-year-old, he's an attacking midfielder by trade. He signed a 4.5-year contract with Middlesbrough, and he was absolutely thrilled to get this deal over the line. Speaking to the club's website, he said, "I'm absolutely over the moon to join what is a massive club. It's a really big step for me in my career, and I'm very excited to be here. There's always been trust in young players at this club, and if they can perform, I want to perform at my highest level. I'm fit, healthy, and I've been playing well, so I feel ready to go. I want to help the team as much as I can from the first day." So as I said, he's a young player, someone who really has the world at his feet, a real future superstar, I believe. Someone who's 20 years old, but don't let that put you off, because he may be a young player, but he's someone who comes with a decent amount of experience. He actually made his Chelsea debut, coincidentally, against Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup a couple of seasons ago. You might remember it. Middlesbrough won the first leg of that 1-0 at the Riverside Stadium. We then went to Stamford Bridge and got absolutely thumped. So we won't dwell on that too much. But Leo Castledine did come on the pitch in that match, and that helped him make his senior debut for Chelsea, his one and only appearance for Chelsea. But that hasn't stopped him. He's captained the team at under 18 and under 21 level. Really highly thought of by the Blues. Since then, he's gone on loan. He spent time with Shrewsbury, played 26 times for them and scored 2 goals. This season, he joined Huddersfield Town in League One. Spent the first half of the campaign there and has just been absolutely sensational so far this season. Played 27 times for them, scored 12 goals and provided 5 assists. Now, in terms of Castledine as a player, he's someone who is he's an attacking midfielder, someone who is probably most comfortable as a sort of number 10 kind of player. That's where he's had most of his joy this season. But he is a fluid player. He is someone who can play in a couple of different positions. He's also played off the left side in attack. He's played off the right side. I think he could also play, if needed, as a striker, as maybe a sort of deep-lying kind of striker. But certainly number 10 is probably his best position. And so that brings up the conundrum of where he's going to fit into Middlesbrough's team. Now, Castledine is 20 years of age. He is a young player. He is someone who Middlesbrough are wanting to develop and wanting to help him get better and turn him into a superstar. But he is someone who's going to be ready to play in the first team straight away. He's coming into the team. He's going to be very much challenging for one of those attacking places, and Middlesbrough have been looking for attacking talent to slot into that team. Now, it could be that he comes straight into the team. It could be that if he plays off the left, he could challenge Riley McGree for that place. Of course, McGree is struggling a little bit with fitness at the moment, so we could offer competition for places there. He could also play as a number 10, which has been a bit of a problem position. He can also provide cover on the right for Morgan Whittaker as well, and it could lead to a bit of a shake-up, I guess, in terms of outgoings. We are going to get onto one of them in just a little bit, but it could have repercussions for Seny Dieng, potentially. Of course, he hasn't played a huge amount since he arrived on loan from Manchester City, so there could be a decision to make there. But what it won't do is it will not make a difference to Middlesbrough's interest in Jeremy Sarmiento. The Northern Echo and Teesside Live have both claimed that Jeremy Sarmiento, the Brighton player, we spoke about him in a previous video, is currently on loan with Cremonese in Italy. He's very much a player on Middlesbrough's radar. This is not a player who is arriving instead of him. Instead, Middlesbrough would quite like to sign both of them if possible. So this isn't the deal that will impact that. Middlesbrough still very much interested in Sarmiento and hopefully would be able to get that one over the line as well. But this could potentially have a big impact on players already within the squad. So Castledine, really interesting signing. Really excited by this one. If you haven't seen some of the clips on social media, I shared it on the Bonkers for Borough X account. Some of the goals have just been absolutely stunning. He looks like a real goal scorer, a really talented young player with, the next couple of years could be massive for him. He could be a player who, in my opinion, could probably exceed possibly Morgan Rogers' level of ability. He's been so good for Chelsea, and he does have the ability to become a real superstar in the future. That's ultimately why Chelsea have decided to cash in on him. Yes, for a relatively modest sum, but they also have a hefty sell-on clause in there. So I think they're expecting that they could profit from this quite big in the future. So certainly one to keep an eye on. I don't think he's going to be involved against Fulham. I'm recording this on Saturday morning, so I don't think it'll have been done in time for him to compete there. But potentially next week when Middlesbrough face West Brom at the Hawthorns on Friday night, he could well make his Middlesbrough debut. So Leo Castledine, first deal done for Middlesbrough, incoming signing, excellent deal in my opinion. And yeah, like I said, big repercussions for a couple of players in Middlesbrough's squad. Before we get on to some of the players who could potentially leave Middlesbrough in the coming days and weeks, I just want to ask you to subscribe to the channel. We're going to be across everything in the January transfer window. There's going to be so much going on. It's already been so busy so far this month with incoming deals and potential outgoings as well. So if you don't want to miss anything, please do hit subscribe on Bonkers for Boro. We'll have all of the breaking news. We'll have all of the analysis from those potential deals. So hit subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you think about that deal for Leo Castledine as well. And now we will move on to the players who could leave Middlesbrough in the coming days. So Castledine's arrival is great news for Kim Hellberg. It's great news for Middlesbrough supporters because he is a player who will add goals and real quality into the final third. But it might not be good news for Delano Burgzorg. Burgzorg is a player who has been, I guess, drifting down the pecking order at the Riverside Stadium for a little while, and in recent days it's emerged that he could well be on his way to the Middlesbrough exit door. The Northern Echo have reported that Bristol City are interested in signing Delano Burgzorg this month. Bristol City are definitely keen to sign an attacker for Gerhard Struber, the Bristol City boss. And Delano Burgzorg is reported to be the number one target for the club. Now, the report says that Boro wouldn't stand in Burgzorg's way this month, providing that they can land a replacement, with the Championship promotion hopefuls looking to further strengthen their attack after the imminent arrival of Chelsea's Leo Castledine. So we've mentioned just before about Jeremy Sarmiento. It may well be the case that if Middlesbrough can strike a deal for Sarmiento or someone else, they would allow Delano Burgzorg to leave the club. Now, Burgzorg is an interesting player to watch. He's someone who, I guess, excites and frustrates Middlesbrough fans in equal measure. I think on his day, he can be really good and really effective. I think when you've got an in-form and on his game, Delano Burgzorg, he can be really dangerous. He's got an electric turn of pace. He's got a lengthy stride. He's powerful. He's great at getting round players, which is a really good thing for him. What he doesn't have is composure. In the final third, his decision-making is often a little bit off. He sometimes takes a little bit too long to release that final ball or to get his shot away. And ultimately, that is what stops him from being a really good championship level player. In my opinion, he's a decent championship player. He's not a top level player. For me, he is someone who is dispensable for Middlesbrough. I think with Leo Castledine coming in, and if we do go out to sign Jeremy Sarmiento, they would undoubtedly be upgrades on Delano Burgzorg. So this is certainly one to watch out for. I wouldn't mind too much if Delano Burgzorg left this month. It is a shame because I do think on his day he can be quite exciting. He does offer something to this Middlesbrough team. I mean, you even look at the amount of games he's played. He's played 67 times for Middlesbrough. He scored 7 goals. Even this season in the Championship, he's started 11 games, been substituted in 11 times. So he's not someone who is an out-and-out backup player. He's proven himself. That Michael Carrick liked him. Rob Edwards liked him. Kim Hellberg has liked him as well and given him a decent amount of game time. He started both the last 2 games against Derby and Southampton as well. So he's clearly offering something which managers are liking, but he just kind of lacks that last bit of quality. So for me, potentially a deal that could be done. Bristol City are interested, and hopefully, if Middlesbrough can sign someone like Sarmiento or a similar profile of player, Delano Burgzorg could be moved on. He is on a decent amount of money. I think it's reported to be around about £20,000 a week, which is probably one of the biggest, the highest wages in Middlesbrough squads. If we can move him on, that would get that off the wage bill. It would free up a place in our 25-man squad, and it would also rake in a little bit, recoup a little bit of cash on that deal as well. So certainly one to keep an eye out on. It's not a deal that's done just yet. It's not one that's particularly close to being done, but it is interest is there. It has been speculated on social media that it could be gathering pace. So Delano Burgzorg to Bristol City could be happening very soon. Now, before we get on to the final player that we're going to discuss, there has been a minor update with regards to Seny Dieng. We reported in the last video that he was closing in on a move to Hull City. They'd agreed an 18-month contract with the player, and they'd agreed to his release from his Middlesbrough deal, and that deal was expected to be completed. It still feels like that deal will be done, but there has been a minor hiccup reporting from Hull Live. They're suggesting that the deal has hit a bit of a stumbling block, but potentially I think everyone is still hoping that that deal will get completed. Of course, Seny Dieng has fallen way down the pecking order with Middlesbrough. Soldrin is the undoubted number one goalkeeper at the Riverside Stadium, and given that Seny Dieng hasn't actually played since what I think it was December 2024, he is someone who is very much available for transfer, someone who could move on. He's again is on a hefty amount of wages at the moment, so to get him off the wage bill would be brilliant. He's a backup player, someone who's not going to get a huge amount of first team football. So that deal with Hull City has hit a bit of a stumbling block, but it does seem like that deal will still happen with both Hull City, Seny Dieng and Middlesbrough all interested in getting that deal done as soon as possible. The final player I want to discuss is Matt Targett. Now, he's someone who has been absolutely sensational for Middlesbrough so far this season. He's someone who arrived on loan at the back end of the summer transfer window. He's obviously contracted to Newcastle United, someone who's had a really torrid time with injuries over the last couple of seasons. And so the idea was that he would come to Middlesbrough, have the opportunity to get some first team football and really rebuild his future. Now, since he's come in, he's been absolutely brilliant. Since arriving at Middlesbrough, he's made 23 appearances for the club. He's scored 2 goals, provided 2 assists. He's been a left back, yes, which has been great. He's done very well in that position, playing as a left back or a left wing back. He's also been absolutely vital in central defence as well. Of course, Middlesbrough fans know all about the number of injuries that we do have in defence with people like George Edmondson, Alfie Jones, Dale Fry, Darragh Lenihan, all facing spells out on the sidelines. And Matt Targett has been forced to play in central defence, which isn't his natural position, but he's done so well in there. He also picked up an injury on Boxing Day against Blackburn, but as a result of that, he has still been able to play through the pain barrier and be a really valuable player for Middlesbrough. Now, Newcastle United have also had their injury problems. We did a video a couple of weeks ago about how Newcastle United were considering recalling Matt Targett from his loan spell to cover them after their injuries. And it seems like that could potentially be resurfacing again. It looked like it had gone quiet. Newcastle had had a couple of those injured players coming back into contention. People like Tino Livramento, Kieran Trippier had sort of come back, and it looked like maybe those injury problems had eased. But I know that there's been an injury again with Fabian Schär facing a long time out. It does mean that with him out, Dan Burn, Jamal Lascelles, there's a number of Newcastle defenders who are out of action at the moment. And so Eddie Howe was talking about Matt Targett once again with the prospect that he could bring him back to St James's Park for the second half of the season. So Eddie Howard said, we'll reflect on all options that are available to us. He was speaking ahead of the FA Cup third round match. He said, we'll try to make the right call with Matt. It's not just our wants and needs, it's his as well, and we have to balance both. Let's see what happens with that one. So, of course, Matt Targett is out of contract with Newcastle in the summer. He hasn't played for them for a long time. Realistically, if he does get recalled by Newcastle, he's going to be going back there. He may well be in the squad for a little bit, but once his injuries subside, he's just going to be someone who's going to be in the background, a reserve team player, just on the training ground, not really getting much match action. Whereas in comparison with Middlesbrough, he's an absolutely vital player. He's probably one of the most important players in Middlesbrough's team at the moment. He's been so good. Kim Hellberg loves him. Middlesbrough supporters love him. He's loving his time with Middlesbrough as well. I believe that he's absolutely thrilled at how well his loan spell is going with Middlesbrough. He's really enjoying the opportunity to play regularly and be part of a team who are challenging for promotion. So it's not like he's edging to go back to Newcastle. He wants to stay with Middlesbrough as well, but ultimately Newcastle United do hold the cards on this one. He is their player. He may only have 6 months left in his contract or so, but he is Newcastle's player. So if they decide that they want to recall him, then that's what will happen. But Middlesbrough will be hoping, they will have their fingers crossed that that doesn't happen and Middlesbrough can keep hold of him for the second half of the season, because he's been so good, so important, and he could still have a massive part to play for Middlesbrough as we challenge for promotion this season. So that's a little roundup of everything that's been going on at the Riverside Stadium in the last 24 hours. It's been absolutely mental. As I said before, there's all sorts going on at the Riverside Stadium. There's plenty more coming up in the coming days and weeks. It's going to be a really busy January transfer window. So we'll drop into the comments below. Let me know what deals you would like to see Middlesbrough complete. And if you have enjoyed this video, please do hit like and please hit subscribe. As I said, we've got all the breaking news from Middlesbrough Football Club coming right here. We've got all the analysis as well. So hit subscribe for the very latest, and I will catch up with you next time.